Assalamu alaikum viewers, here again with another edition of the Think Tank Talk, and today we are going to focus on the environmental challenges that Pakistan is currently facing. Pakistan has been ravaged by cloudbursts, by floods, and by glacial melt that has also caused a flash flooding, resulting in massive damages as well as human losses. To discuss that, the gravity of the climate change impacts on Pakistan, we have with us Malik Amin Aslam, who is very passionate about the environment. He has been the vice president of the IUCN for several years, has been the minister on climate a couple of times in Pakistan in different cabinets. So welcome Amin Aslam Saab.
Thank you very much.
So the basic question everybody is asking, how serious is the climate change impact on Pakistan?
Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me to this talk. Pakistan is really in the eye of the climate storm, and it has been continuously impacted by various facets of climate change. And if you look back over the last decade, we have been one of the 3 countries in the world which has been continuously on the top 10 most vulnerable countries to climate change. And there is a reason for that. And the reason is not our fault. We are not one of the big emitters on climate change. We are still less than 1% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So we are way down in terms of the countries that have contributed to this problem. But Pakistan's topography and geography is such that we cannot escape climate change. We are a country which has got the second highest point in the world, K2, and then we go down to sea level within 2,000 kilometers. So you're almost living on a slide. And on the top of this slide is the third pole of the world, which is the third highest reservoir for fresh water, the 14,000 glaciers that Pakistan has. So on one side, this is a big blessing because the whole country survives on that water. But on the other side, because of climate change and the enhanced warming and the glacial melt which is occurring, and then the monsoonal rains which are changing in their pattern very dramatically in terms of the frequency of where it rains and how it rains and how much it rains. The intensity is almost on a pendulum. So Pakistan has to face all of this, as I said, right in the eye of the storm. And we go from one climate disaster to the other. I mean, if you remember 4 months ago, there were 2 provinces which had declared a drought in Pakistan. There was no water in those provinces because the rains had not come. The winter rains did not come this year. They were like I think 70% less than normal. But yet today we've got water everywhere. It's coming down really our throat. I mean, if you see the KP province flooded with these flash cloudbursts which has happened over there, and because of climate change and then the human element of misgovernance, the two have come together to create this perfect crisis for Pakistan.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to ask, that there is not much one could do against the climate change itself. But what is it that people here have done which basically aggravates and multiplies the impact of the climate change?
Well, I think in one word, what they've done is that they have basically taken up a war with nature. And this is a war that nobody, nowhere in the world can win. And especially Pakistan, which is, as I said, in the eye of the climate storm. We have to make nature an ally if we are to survive. It is not about climate adaptation anymore, it is about climate survival in Pakistan. And to survive climate change, we have to make nature an ally. And how you do that is you stop the deforestation which is happening, because these trees are not just machines that give us oxygen, but they are elements of the resilience that has to be built up in Pakistan to survive climate change. They help in slope stabilization, in water management of watersheds, and numerous other environmental services that they provide. But unfortunately, we've been on a rampage in terms of deforestation. Secondly, we take on nature when we start. Firstly, we don't have any river zoning authorities or river zoning plans in place, and we take on nature when we start building in the way of the flood path. So floodplain management is again linked.
Encroachments in the river paths.
All of that is linked with basic misgovernance. Thirdly, we again don't reap the benefits of nature when we don't store our water. In Pakistan, the storage percentage is only 9%. So the water that we get, if you get 100 liters of water, we are only saving 9 liters of that water. The world average is about 40%, and the region, the average is very high, about 30-35% if you look at India and China. But we don't have the storage capacity to store this water. We need to build our dams. We need to build nature-based water storage facilities like wetlands and areas where this water can be stored. Because this is yearly happening now. In 100 days, this deluge of water comes because there's the glacier melting in the north, and then you've got the monsoons coming in from the south, and both connect to create this huge mass of water that goes through Pakistan. I was just reading yesterday that IRSA has come out with data that only in 25 days in July, Pakistan has flushed about 7 million acre feet of water down the Arabian Sea. Now this 7 million acre feet is equivalent to another Tarbela Dam lake, a full lake. So I think we are wasting the opportunity that we have for benefiting from this huge resource. I mean, the economic value of that is about $7 to $8 billion.
So you made an interesting point by alluding to misgovernance. But is it really misgovernance or sheer disregard for the consequences of the human actions? And you also talk about the aligning, ourselves with the challenge, with what the climate change basically has imposed on us. But how do we align the critical stakeholders in this noble goal, like the contractors, greedy contractors, timber mafia, the land mafia, who are all swallowing up forests and mountains, raising down? So how do you call it just misgovernance?
Well, I think all of this comes under the overall concept of governance, that when you talk about governance, you're going to be managing all of these issues, because these issues are endemic to all other issues, not just climate change. I mean, there is corruption, there are vested interests, there are vested mafias. But in climate change, what is happening is that all these issues, if they are aligned together, and they start ravaging nature, because nature is they see nature as free for all. It's called in environmental terms, it's called the tragedy of the commons. That everybody is benefiting, but nobody is responsible for actually taking up this fight. And that is now hurting Pakistan to the extent that we are really in it for survival now. As I said, it's not about adaptation now, it's about actually surviving the fury of climate change. I think all of these have to be aligned, and there has to be political commitment coming right from the top. The top has to be really have a belief that this is something that needs to happen in Pakistan. And nature is reminding us again and again not to come in its way. We saw it in 2022. We've seen it. We've had 4 major flood events in the last decade and a half, and then we've seen droughts happening in Pakistan. We've seen wildfires in Pakistan destroying major part of our forests. So all of these are issues in which nature is going to get its own way if we stand in its way. So I think it is important that we are the ones who have to take a step back, change the way we look at this whole paradigm, and stop playing victim all the time. We are very good at playing victim of climate change, but nobody is listening on that victimhood, because unless we act ourselves, Unless
credibility is
the credibility is important, because it's not important, it's essential for climate change to be dealt with. And climate change really requires climate action, not just climate talk. So it is important that we start acting on what we are saying we want the world to do for us. The bottom line for that is, you have to put your money where your mouth is. You have to align your budget priorities to address climate change. I was very happy when this year's budget was termed as Pakistan's first climate budget before it came. But once it came, I was shocked. Where is the climate budget? What was termed as climate financing in this budget was basically
cut down by two-thirds.
No. The first thing was that they brought out a figure of what is the climate spending that they're going to do this year. None of it was new. All of it was repackaging old wine in new bottles. So and 80% of that was focused on mitigation. So the big dams that we are making and that we should be making was termed as climate spending, but these were old projects. They're projects which have been going on, even when climate change was not a big issue for Pakistan. Very small funding is apportioned for adaptation. And secondly, you talk about clean energy focus in Pakistan again in the budget, and at the same time you're contradicting it by taxing electric vehicles in Pakistan, by taxing the unprecedented solar revolution in Pakistan. So as I said, governance requires all of this to be reprioritized. We need to put our finger on the reset button very quickly and make sure that we align ourselves with nature, make it an ally, focus on nature-based solutions. I remember, during our term in office, that was the focus of our vision, that we have to invest in nature and trust in nature then. All the projects, the Billion Tree project, the 10 billion tree.
I wanted to ask you about that you, together with the former Prime Minister Imran Khan, spearheaded this Billion Tree Tsunami campaign, and then followed by the 10 billion tsunami. So this required passion from the top, because you both were very much wedded to the idea of afforestation. Now, can you tell us what impact did this effort, the Billion Tree and 10 billion tree tsunami, have at all on the deforestation that Pakistan has been experiencing for decades?
That's a very good question, because when we saw what's happened in KP recently, there was a lot of question marks about where are the billion trees, why didn't they stop this flood, and what happened in KP was because of deforestation, which is true. So when we started this vision, it had basically two pillars. One was we had to arrest the deforestation in Pakistan. We were one of the leaders on deforestation in the world, although we have one of the lowest covers of forest in the world, also at 5%. So that was one pillar that required zero tolerance, very powerful political commitment to take on the timber mafia in the KP province. And the other part of it was afforestation, which meant putting up new forests. So you stop, save the forest that you have, and you start afforesting new lands, bringing new lands under forestry. Now, on the first aspect, when this criticism came, I just went onto the net. Global Forest Watch is an international organization which does satellite monitoring of forests of the world. So they came out with this very interesting graph, which you can see very clearly over here, that there's a huge block of deforestation that occurred in Pakistan between 2000 and 2014. 2014 is when we started the Billion Tree project, and the pillar was to halt deforestation in Pakistan. And this is for whole of Pakistan, but 75% of the natural forests are in KP province. So whatever happens in KP is what is on this graph. And then if you look at the period between 2014 and 2022, you see the deforestation dropping out to almost zero in some years, and then being on a very low level till 2022, when the government shifted, and we again see a jump in deforestation again. So again, the mafias were back. And ironically, after 2000, and this is just a zoom in of the last 2-3 years, if you look at this, it shows that This is 2001, 2021. This is 22. Then 2023, you see this huge jump. And then again 2024, when the PTI government was in place, which was supposed to be following the vision of Imran Khan. Unfortunately, they forgot this vision, and you see deforestation kept on going up. So that was that.
They aligned themselves also with the same timber mafia, land mafia.
So that's what happened. On the afforestation part, where did the billion trees come on the ground? What we did was one thing that we had a independent third-party auditor come in when we started the project, so that we could actually audit the performance of the project, not the financial aspect that is done by the Auditor General of Pakistan, but the performance of the project. That if you're saying that we are going to plant 1 billion trees, did those get planted, and how much of that survived? So we set up a consortium of the most credible organizations, WWF, IUCN and FAO, and it got funded through the German ministry. So it was totally independent of the government, and they came up with a report, 2 reports. I'll just show it to you, which endorses what happened during the period 2020 to 22 on the project, and it shows a survival rate.
It was a time when the PTI government was gone.
It shows a survival rate of over 75% for the saplings that were put in, especially in the KP province. And the report came out in 2024, so we were long gone at this time. And you know what happens when you're out of government, everybody takes out their knife. But this endorses the effort of afforestation, and this shows that the deforestation got stopped during the PTI years in office. This is another report which just shows that one of the pillars of the success was to involve the local indigenous communities into the whole process. So this report shows the success stories. It is a very interesting read. It's in Urdu, but it gives the stories about how people's life who lived in the forest changed because they became partners in the whole process, and they became the guardians of the forest. You cannot save forests without involving the local communities, and this is the report that endorses that. This is again from IUCN, again from 2024. So I think the effort was there, but what is important is the continuity. One government can come and do whatever it can, but if the other one comes in with a chainsaw, everything is gone. So I think we need to have a political consensus on this issue. This is an issue of Pakistan. It's not about me, it's not about Imran Khan or PTI, it is about Pakistan. Pakistan, if it has to survive climate change, has to stop deforestation in the country. We have to stop deforestation, we have to put up new forests, we have to increase this 5% to at least 10% of forests, and we have to put the money into this effort, our own money. And I'll tell you that once you put your own money, you'll have support coming from across the world to support that initiative. We do have an opportunity at this time, and the opportunity is that the IMF and the World Bank, who are the major donors for Pakistan, have given us funding for climate resilience building. So over there, the whole development paradigm has changed. They know that development per se will be meaningless if it is not climate compatible. So what they have done is that the 1.2 billion that IMF has given through the RCF facility is for climate resilience building in Pakistan. Similarly, the World Bank is also over the next 10 years chartered out a climate resilience program for Pakistan. So that's the opportunity, that if we can use this pot of money properly to prioritize and projectize and implement projects on the ground, then Pakistan will be able to survive the wrath of climate change. But if we, if the contractors and the corrupt mafias, the land mafia, the timber mafia, again get sway of this whole pot of money, then it's a challenging situation for Pakistan.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, a political consensus is first needed, and then the government.
Yes, I think all the political parties need to be one on this issue. It's an issue for the survival of Pakistan, and I think we are very good at signing charters on different topics. I think we need to sign up for a charter on climate change to make sure that all the political parties, whenever they come to power, this is an agenda that should not stop. It should have a clear direction, which should be owned by the political parties, and which should have very strong political ownership no matter who comes into power.
Thank you very much. It was lovely talking to Malik Amin Aslam, a very passionate person as far as the climate change and environment is concerned, and is absolutely right that for prioritizing climate environment protection, you need people on top. It shall have to start from the top, and one glaring shining example was the Billion Tree Tsunami. One would assume the way credit has been given to that effort, that how it basically brought down the deforestation rate, at least for a couple of years, and that has been certified also by the outsiders. So political consensus is absolutely essential, and we can benefit, Pakistan can benefit from the globally available funding only if action on ground is taken, mitigation strategies are put in place. Let's hope the government does it sooner than later. Thank you very much.